Probably the biggest trend is the events that haven't traditionally been sanctioned are being sanctioned, and they're affecting the dollar amounts that will qualify people for the National Finals Rodeo. For example, the American in Dallas, traditionally an unsanctioned event, which means the money won there didn't count. Same with Houston for the last decade plus. So now you've got people winning $50,000, and those probably 3 to 5 of the spots that will be filled at the National Finals Rodeo are already occupied by people who've won enough money at these events that weren't previously sanctioned, where now the money does count. So there's really only 10 spots left, basically, to fill between now and September 30th to make it to the NFR. Very carefully, because, you know, Sean Davis did so many great things over 3+ decades, and the NFR isn't broke, so it really doesn't need to be fixed. But if there's one goal I'd like to engage in, it is to make it a more intimate experience for the fan. I want the fan to feel like they know the contestant better. I want the fan to feel like they're involved in the contest better. I don't want them to feel like they're just watching a movie or watching a basketball game or a football game. I want them to feel like they are a part of the actual rodeo itself. And if I could employ various different types of technologies and innovative things that are available to us today to make that experience more intimate for the fan, then that's exactly what I hope my stamp to be. Well, number one, obviously, it's the World Championships. I mean, the season is over when the NFR is over. And after 10 rounds, somebody's going to be crowned a world champion. But you know what? The biggest difference really is Vegas. I mean, this city is just, it's an iconic city for sporting events, whether it's boxing, whether it's marathons, whether it's NASCAR. And because we're in Las Vegas, a lot more attention is given to the National Finals Rodeo than if it were held anywhere else. So I don't know that it would be the Super Bowl in Oklahoma City or in Dallas or San Antonio or Pendleton even. It's one of the biggest reasons it's the Super Bowl is because of the glitz and the glamour and the attention the city of Las Vegas draws to the National Finals Rodeo. Probably because as an announcer, you definitely recognize the difference between a good production and a bad production. A bad production is slow. It's boring. The fans don't want to be engaged in a slow and boring event. And a good production is fast-paced, entertaining, engaging with the audience. And so as an announcer, you easily recognize the difference between a good rodeo and a bad rodeo. And no matter where you go, you're always trying to take the ones that are bad and make them good, and the ones that are good and make them better. Because the better the production, the better it is to be a good announcer. And I just think that's contagious for every element of the rodeo. Whether you're an announcer or a contestant, stock contractor, bullfighter, the better the production, the better the job you're going to end up doing. You know, the purse at the National Finals Rodeo was life-changing. You can't spend it because you don't know what you're going to win until you get here. But almost every athlete that shows up here is going to leave with $50,000 to $60,000 at the bare minimum. And some, like Chase Dowdery last year, won $237,000. He's 24 years old, but yet he had no idea he was going to win that much money when he showed up. But he left here with nearly $250,000 10 days later. Now, what does that do? That lets him buy a ranch, maybe buy some cows, pay off some student loan debt. But it's money that you can't budget for or borrow against because you don't know what you're going to win until you win it. And for the majority of the contestants that come here, it's life-changing money. I mean, at $10 million, the next highest paying rodeo in the regular season is 20%. 20% of what we're going to pay out at the National Finals Rodeo. And so when Las Vegas puts up that money, they're not just giving it to somebody because they rode bulls well. I mean, Tyler Wegesbach won $180,000 in the steer wrestling last year, 180 grand. And what are you going to do with that when you go home with 2 weeks left in December? You're going to have more than just a great Christmas. It's just life-changing money.